Every winning streak you've ever had was born with an expiration date. That period of intense creativity, financial abundance, or deep connection always seems to fade, replaced by a season of struggle and contraction. The ancient texts that influenced Newton and Da Vinci claim this isn't bad luck. It's a law as fundamental as gravity. And until you understand how this cosmic pendulum works, you'll mistake the natural return swing for a personal failure, turning a simple correction into a crisis. The core idea is captured in a single elegant phrase. The swing of the pendulum to the right determines the measure of the swing to the left. Think about the last time everything was going your way. A promotion at work, a new relationship hitting that perfect rhythm, a creative project that just flowed effortlessly. That feeling of expansion, of upward momentum, is the pendulum swinging high to one side. The energy behind that upswing is real. It's measurable in your confidence, your output, your general state of being. But that energy must be balanced. The law of rhythm states that for every action, there is a reaction, an equal and opposite movement. The higher the peak, the deeper the valley that follows. This isn't a punishment, it's physics. It's the universe maintaining equilibrium. The mistake we make is to identify with the peak. We think this is the new me, and we cling to it. We try to force the pendulum to stay at its highest point, which is like trying to make a wave stay crested. It's impossible, and the effort of trying to hold it there is what creates the crash. The anxiety you feel when things start to slow down is the friction of your expectation fighting against the natural return swing. The law operates on every plane. The business cycle booms and busts. Empires rise and fall. Even your own moods oscillate between elation and melancholy. Your energy levels surge and retreat. It's all the same pendulum swinging on different scales. The Kybalion, the text that outlines these principles, suggests this rhythm is universal. It governs the tides, the seasons, and the very breath in your lungs. So why does this feel like a new idea? Because we live in a culture that worships the upswing. We celebrate relentless growth and perpetual happiness. We see the downswing as an error to be fixed, a problem to be medicated, a failure to be hidden. We've been taught to fight half of reality, and this explains the exhaustion, the burnout, the constant feeling of swimming against a current you can't see. You feel the pull, but you were told it shouldn't exist. You were taught to build a life at the peak of the pendulum's swing, but the law itself contains the escape route. The text says you can learn to polarize yourself at the point you desire, and neutralize the rhythmic swing of the pendulum. This sounds like a contradiction. How can you escape a universal law? The answer has nothing to do with fighting the swing. The answer lies in rising above it. Imagine a grandfather clock. The heavy brass pendulum swings back and forth, marking time, back and forth. It has no choice. Its path is fixed. Now imagine you are a tiny fleck of dust on the very bottom of that pendulum. Your entire reality is this violent swing from one extreme to the other. Your world is defined by constant jarring motion. One moment you're hurtling towards optimism, the next, towards despair. That's how most of us experience life. We ride the emotional and circumstantial swings, feeling tossed around by forces beyond our control. This is the experience of living on the material plane, fully identified with the outcomes. The Hermetic art of transmutation isn't about stopping the pendulum. That's impossible. It's about learning to climb up the pendulum's arm. As you move upward, closer to the pivot point, the swing becomes less and less pronounced. The arc of your movement shrinks. You're still moving with the rhythm, but the journey from one side to the other is shorter, less violent. At the exact pivot point, there is motion, but there is no swing. There is perfect stillness within the movement. This is the state the Hermeticists called equilibrium. It is a state of mental mastery. This isn't about becoming numb or dispassionate, it's about changing your point of identification. Instead of identifying with the results, the money, the relationship status, the project's success, you identify with the process, with the cause, instead of the effect. The person who masters rhythm still experiences the world. They still have great successes and they still face profound challenges. The economy still turns. Relationships still evolve. The pendulum of the world keeps swinging. But their internal state, their core sense of self, is anchored at the pivot point. They observe the swing without being carried away by it. They can appreciate the beauty of the high swing without fearing the inevitable low. They can navigate the valley without believing they will be stuck there forever. This is what it means to use the law instead of being used by it. It's a shift from being the dust fleck to being the conscious observer who understands the mechanics of the clock. So how is this state achieved? The Kybalion is notoriously sparse on practical instructions. It gives the what, but rarely the how. It mentions the art of polarization, a mental process of consciously choosing your state. This involves raising your mental vibrations above the plane of the swing. The key is found in a related principle, the principle of mentalism. The first Hermetic principle states, the all is mind, the universe is mental. This means that the fundamental reality of the universe is consciousness itself. The physical world, the events, the circumstances, they are all thoughts in the mind of the all. You, as a part of this cosmic mind, have the ability to create on your own mental plane. This is where the practical application begins. You cannot stop the world's pendulum. You can't prevent a recession, or stop people from changing, or halt the aging of your body. These are mass pendulums swinging with immense momentum. Attempting to stop them with your individual will is like trying to hold back the ocean tide with a bucket. It leads to frustration and exhaustion. But you have absolute dominion over one pendulum, the one swinging inside your own consciousness. Your moods, your focus, your emotional state. This is your workshop. The art of polarization is the deliberate act of choosing your mental state, irrespective of the external swing. When the world swings into chaos and fear, you can consciously choose to anchor yourself in a state of calm and clarity. When the world swings into a cycle of lack and scarcity, you can mentally inhabit a state of abundance and gratitude. This isn't wishful thinking, it's a focused act of mental creation. You create a high tide of your chosen state within your own mind. The law of rhythm still applies. There will be a corresponding low tide. After a period of intense focus and willed calm, you might feel mentally tired. After a surge of creative energy, you might feel a period of quiet integration. That's the pendulum of your own energy swinging. But here's the difference. You are in control of the subject. You've chosen the turns of the swing. It's far better to navigate the rhythm of focused work, followed by rest and recovery, than to be a victim of the world swing between anxious panic and temporary relief. You are setting the agenda for your own consciousness. You do this by creating a mental pulse so strong that it acts as a gravitational center for your attention. This is the essence of meditation, a focused prayer, a visualization. It's the practice of returning again and again to a chosen mental state until it becomes your default, your center of gravity. You aren't denying the downswing. That's a critical mistake. The valley is where you gather strength for the next peak. It's the fallow season for the soil. The art is to neutralize the emotional sting of the downswing. You observe it, you allow it. You know it's part of the cycle. And you know it will pass. You use the low energy state to rest, to plan, to reflect. You honor the rhythm instead of fighting it. You use the valley instead of being used by it. But there is a deeper layer to this. Neutralizing the swing in your own mind has an effect on the world outside. The two are connected. This connection is explained by the principle of vibration. Everything is in motion. Nothing rests. From the atom to the galaxy, everything is vibrating at a specific frequency. Your thoughts are vibrations. Your emotions are vibrations. A state of fear has a low, slow, dense vibration. A state of joy has a high, fast, light vibration. The law of attraction, in its original non-commercialized form, is simply this. Like attracts like. A given frequency resonates with similar frequencies. When you consciously and consistently hold your mind at a certain pole, a certain vibration, you begin to attract circumstances, people, and events that resonate with that frequency. You begin to influence which worldly pendulums you are most attuned to. Imagine a room filled with 100 different grandfather clocks, all swinging to their own rhythm. By mastering your own mental vibration, you develop a resonance with the clocks swinging in harmony with your chosen state. You might still be aware of the other clocks, the ones swinging in chaos or despair, but they no longer command your attention. They no longer feel like your reality. You've tuned your receiver to a different station. This is why a person who genuinely transforms their inner world often sees their outer world rearrange itself to match. They start meeting different people. They start noticing different opportunities. The external world didn't magically change. Their point of resonance changed. and they are now perceiving a different slice of the infinite possibilities that always existed. This is the great work. It's a patient, persistent effort to master your own inner world. The process is subtle. There is no lightning strike. There is only the daily practice of choosing your mental pole. Every time you catch yourself being dragged down by a negative news cycle and gently redirect your focus, you are practicing this art. Every time you feel the pull of an old resentment and choose forgiveness instead, you are climbing the pendulum. Every time you feel the grip of fear about the future and choose to focus on the task in front of you, you are moving toward the pivot point. It's a quiet revolution, one conscious choice at a time. The world will keep swinging, but you are building a sanctuary within yourself, a point of stillness. And from that point of stillness, you can act with clarity and purpose, engaging with the world's dance without being swept away by it. There is, however, a paradox. The very act of trying to escape the swing can create a new, more subtle swing. This is the trap of spiritual ambition. The desire to rise above the mundane world can become its own pendulum. The swing becomes one between a feeling of enlightened superiority and the frustration of still being human, still having flaws, still getting angry in traffic. This is the most dangerous swing of all, because it's disguised as progress. The Hermetic teachings caution against this. The goal is balance. The maxim, as above so below, means the spiritual and material worlds are two aspects of one reality. To deny the below, the messy, emotional, human part of existence, is to create a profound imbalance. It is to soar off the branch you are sitting on. The true master of rhythm doesn't float above the world in a state of detached bliss. They are fully engaged in it. They live in the world, but they are not of the world. They understand that the low parts of the cycle are just as necessary as the high parts. The winter is as important as the summer. The night is as vital as the day. They stop judging the swing. This is the final key. Neutralization is not elimination. It's the removal of your emotional judgment about the cycle. It's accepting that contraction is as valuable as expansion. Contraction is where we integrate our lessons. It's where we rest. It's where we build the deep roots that will support the next phase of growth. A tree that only grew up would have no roots and would topple in the first wind. The downswing is what gives the upswing meaning. Without silence, music is just noise. Without hunger, a meal has no savor. You can't have one without the other. To be polarized at the pivot is to hold both extremes in a state of loving acceptance. You see the whole cycle as a single, beautiful, necessary process. You participate in it, fully and consciously. You work hard, and you rest deeply. You celebrate your victories and you learn from your defeats. You feel your joys, and you allow your sorrows to move through you without taking up residence. You stop fighting. You start dancing. The rhythm was never your enemy. Your resistance to it was. The moment you stop resisting, the pendulum that once threw you around becomes the source of your momentum. The force that once caused you pain becomes the very thing that propels you forward. You learn to ride the wave, and from the crest of that wave, you can see the entire ocean. You see that every tide, every rise and fall, is just the breath of the cosmos. One single, unified, and perfect movement. And you are a part of it. The ballot box of your attention is open. It has been open this whole time.